And now I invite Mr. Soumya Mukhopadhyay. I hope I tell well. Shaman, sorry. My Hindi not so good.
Good afternoon, everybody. My topic is the relevance of analog photography. Unlike other speakers, I don't have any pictures to show you, so it could be boring. Kindly bear with me. I shall read a smaller version of the text of the article which has been published in the journal, but because of the time constraint, I am forced to read the smaller version of the same thing. If anybody wants to read it is in the story. Being a practitioner for over 3 decades, I have a hidden bias towards silver halide photography. That said, I must also admit that I hold no aversion towards digital photography. Amid the fast evolving landscape of digital photography, one might question the relevance of analog photography today. How analog photography is perceived in the digital age. What happens to the spirit of photography when algorithms replaces the hand of the artist? Is there a suitable substitute in the analog process to counter the alienation of the artist caused by software and binary codes? Life today rushes on. Fast food, loud music, relentless striving, leaving little room for silence, repose, and inward stillness. In such an ambience, analog photography slows us down, compels us to reflect upon ourselves and effectively and intimately connect to our immediate world. So photography is a reflective medium, providing us with a personal mirror for examining the world and ourselves. In digital photography, all actions from clicking the shutter to post-processing in a computer system is aimed quickly to produce the final image. The goal has become far more important than the process. An attitude that is more respectful to the process can best be illustrated by the analogy of classical music, which does not play to reach the end of a composition, but for which each moment of sound, every movement of notes and phrases are of immediate and continuing significance. Similarly, photography is also a multitude of moments and experiences, each permeated with the possibility of immediate and sustained significance. This has been discussed earlier also. For over a century, photography has been a testimony of truth. Since AI has become so inextricably linked with digital photography, there is an erosion of trust in photography so far as the veracity of an image is concerned. Digital photography can no longer be fully trusted, as AI can recreate images that never existed. The danger is not AI deceiving people. It is more about the potential to rewrite history with synthetic imagery and the possibility to mislead the mass and the danger of fueling hatred and hostility between people and communities. Though in the end, both analog and AI are likely to coexist, analog is gaining value as a medium that ensures genuinity, authenticity, whereas digital trust is fading, unfortunately. The immediacy with which digital images are produced and consumed encourages a casual relationship to both the moments captured and the images themselves. Over time, this constant accessibility dulls sensitivity, rendering meaningful experiences ordinary. Analog photography, by contrast, teaches the discipline of waiting and the possibility of reward through patience. The depth of joy it offers is difficult to articulate. It lies in the pleasure of the thing itself, in the fullness of inhabiting the moment, enriched by the expectation cultivated through restraint. This experience is further intensified by anticipation and magnified almost exponentially by the uncertainty and unforeseen character of the outcome. Analog photography necessitates a deeper understanding and command of the fundamentals of photography, as mistakes made in the process cannot be easily corrected. It encourages patience, precision, technical understanding, and an acute awareness of each shot, skills that are often lost in today's world of digital immediacy. Films and papers are finite resources. Photographers, therefore, are prompted to think more about the aesthetics and technical aspects of photography, resulting in more purposeful, thoughtful, and deliberate imagery. One of the most compelling qualities of film photography lies in its imperfections. Grain, along with subtle variations in exposure, tonality, paper texture produces images that feel organic and alive with character. Rather than striving for flawlessness, as digital photography often does, film welcomes unpredictability, allowing each image to emerge as a singular expression marked by nuance, individuality, and artistic depth. While preserving details and the naturalness of highlights and shadows, film is able to record incomparably better contrasts of direct light, backlighting, contrary lighting, or any scenario in which extreme conditions are present. In comparison, though digital image sensors have considerably improved in reading and interpreting light, particularly in highlight areas, they still often suffer from blown out highlights that become easily coverable. A challenge is less prevalent in the analog approach. Analog photography's capacity to preserve integrity of both highlights and shadows imbue images with unparalleled depth and richness that still outperforms digital photography. Ansel Adams said, "The negative is the score, print is the performance." The quintessential joy of photography is in printing the negative. The entire process is handcrafted, labor-intensive, and thus idiosyncratic in nature. Printing in a darkroom is a unique and unforgettable and often a meditative experience. The tactile feel of a paper, witnessing the gradual emergence of an image in the developer, all contribute to build a profound connection between the photographer and his craft. The print made in a darkroom is something physical, sculpted, real, and one of its kind. In the darkroom, the artist ruminates and interprets his negative and creates a print that is something truly distinctive, a print that will last 100 years and that will always be available for subsequent scrutiny and evolution. It will never be left to anguish as a forgotten file on a hard drive. In digital world, images exist as binary codes and are consumed through LCD screens. The physical properties of analog photography postulate the importance of material experience. The tactile elements of analog photography invite a richer, multisensory engagement with the medium, something that digital images cannot fully replicate. This materiality also imparts permanence. Unlike a digital file that can be accidentally deleted or lost in a crash, a silver gelatin print endures with physical presence and longevity. An analog print carries a distinct aura, an authenticity and singularity formed through human touch, intention, and emotion. Mechanical reproduction erodes the aura of art, a condition intensified by digital photography with its capacity for infinite replication. Each image formed through physical tools chemical processes, and the artist's intention and intellect retains an irreplaceable material presence. The smell of the darkroom, the weight, tonality, and texture of the paper and its subtle imperfections amalgamate to become the part of artwork's story. In the digital epoch, analog photography is not merely an exercise in nostalgia, but a deliberate resistance to dehumanization and alienation. In fine art, the process is often as meaningful as the final product. The journey is as important as the destination. In the hyper-efficient realm of digital photography, where sensor, algorithm, and software dictate most of the image-making process, the photographer's role shifts from creator to operator. This shift results in a profound erosion of artistic agency. While digital automation offers speed, precision, and convenience, it often supplants the subtle, deliberate choices that once lay at the heart of photographic craftsmanship. As these decisions are increasingly deferred to algorithms and automated systems, the photographer's engagement with the medium becomes more passive. The act of image making risks being reduced to selection and confirmation rather than thoughtful construction. Over time, this distancing from hands-on decision making can weaken photographers' creative intuition, diminishing both artistic depth and a sense of presence within the work. The image may remain technically flawless, yet lack the intentionality, individuality, and human imprint that emerge from sustained, conscious authorship. Unlike digital photography, which promotes immediacy and high-volume capture, analog practice fosters contemplation and intentional decision-making, teaching the discipline of discernment, of stripping away non-essentials. In doing so, it mirrors a broader lesson in living itself, that meaning often emerges not from excesses, but from attention, restraint, and intentional choice. The slowness of the process introduces a different mode of seeing, one rooted in attentiveness rather than immediacy. Time ceases to be a neutral backdrop and instead becomes an active participant in the image making, allowing the photographer to connect with the subject and the surroundings. In reuniting photography with time, touch, and tactility, analog practice becomes a poetic art rather than a purely technical exercise. This aligns photography with other traditional fine art forms, where the hand and the soul of the artist are inseparable with the work itself. When art is created solely for economic gain or propaganda, detached from its creator and mass-produced, it loses its capacity to awake human conscience and inspire reflection. Analog photography combats this commodification by demanding personal involvement and craftsmanship. Each print stands as a residue of deliberate human effort, shaped by intention, judgment, and fallibility rather than by algorithmic efficiency. Such singularity reflects the fundamental principle of fine art, that authenticity, meaning, and value arises from conscious human authorship and not from mechanical efficiency. In the hypersonic digital world, film photography offers a refreshing change of pace. The delayed gratification deepens the emotional bond with each photograph, allowing attachment to form through anticipation, reflection, and sustained investment of time and attention. Far from a fleeting trend, analog photography persists as an enduring mode of artistic expression, grounded in time, materiality, and human intention. Its continued resonance lies not in novelty, but in its capacity to slow perception, to anchor images in the physical world, and to preserve meaning against the ephemerality of contemporary visual culture. The renewed interest in analog photography testifies to its enduring relevance and creative potency. Rather than functioning as mere nostalgia, it reasserts a way of seeing. It reasserts the significance of time, touch, and intention as fundamental conditions of meaning. Through this practice, the artist is reconnected to the subject not as data but as presence. The viewer is reoriented towards the image as a physical object rather than a fleeting apparition on the screen. Ultimately, analog photography in the digital epoch functions both as an act of preservation and as a philosophical counterposition to the estrangement produced by contemporary image culture. It resists the abstraction and dematerialization of the image, resulting notions of authenticity and aura not as sentimental remnants of the past, but as a vivid condition of meaning. Through its insistence of time, material presence, and human intention, analog photography reclaims creativity from automation and returns it to the realm of consciousness, situated in human expression, an act not merely of remembrance, but of renewed awareness and resistance. Thank you. Lastly, I want to say I am not here to start a battle between analog and digital, but this is my feeling. That's why I thought I should share some of my feelings. Thank you. Any questions, please?
Thank you, Soumya Mukhopadhyay, for your wonderful deliberation. Now, from the august audience, is there any question? Yes. Yes. Sure.
Sir, a very wonderful presentation, especially for people of our generation who are born and brought up in the analog age. So my question is, in the process of history of civilization, photography is not an isolated event. So in the history of civilization, any changes brought in or thrust upon by technical innovations, by development of science, can it be reversed? Can in any...
You cannot fight technology.
So my question is, can John Henry ever win the battle, sir?
You see, you cannot stop technology. But my point is how you use it. In internet you can find all sorts of things. That does not mean that internet is bad.
I am talking about good or bad, sir. My question is, when development of science and technology pushes aside one thing, just like the example we gave, our very popular song in our days, Paul Robson's, John Henry. When the steam has come in, whether the manual labor will exist, when the digital photography, digital camera has come in, now will the analog survive, sir?
Analog will survive. That's why that's what I have spoken. Because it resists dehumanization, alienation. The whole process, I am speaking from the perspective of the man who is creating, not from the viewer. Viewer is not at all interested whether this image has been created through digital photography or analog photography. He doesn't care. But I am talking for the person who creates the image. For me, I prefer it to term it as journey, the process of creating image. Journey is probably more important than the destination.
I think this is something. Next question. Okay. Soumya, in your deliberation, you have used analog as well as film. So, are the two different things or the similar, synonymous?
Not synonymous, but I have loosely used the term analog.
Yes, I think that opposite to digital, you should use film photography, not analog. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, next question.
Just a couple of minutes ago, you have mentioned that you cannot stop technology, technological advancement.
but there is a kind of a resurrection of analog principle of analog technology, or rather we can say coming back is in the year.
There is
So
renewed
what's your,
interest, you can say.
yeah, what's your take on that?
Sorry?
What's your take on that?
Yeah, there is a renewed interest because digital photography has become very much predictable. Whereas analog, the film photography, that it embraces, unpredictability. So people are more interested. Those who are people have become somewhat bored. That's what my feeling is. So that's why there is a renewed interest.
Can you see a kind of assimilation of both technologies in the future?
Yeah, there has always been. There are enlargers available in which you can put a pen drive or a CD or something like that.
Oh.
From that enlarger, DVR makes that enlarger. You put the digital file and you can put it on a. You can print on this thing.
Bromine
Cinematic
paper.
photosensitive paper. Yeah. This is available for 10 years now.
Thank you.
This type of enlarger. There is.
Thank you. Next question. Hey, question. Hey, Soumya. Question. Don't leave the dais. Okay.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation. Only one thing to ask you, what is the cost of a film today?
Varies.
And what is the cost of development? Any idea? Just share it
I
with
haven't calculated.
not the calculation. I have asked the shops in Calcutta, one film, colored film cost of 35 mm is 1400 rupees.
Yes.
And development cost is 1000 rupees. How many people
My
will
suggestion would be, get your films imported from England. It will be cheaper. Get your films and papers imported from England. Pay courier charges, pay import duty, still it will be cheaper than what is the price here.
No, it depends. I am telling you the availability for the general mass. There is
General
a-
mass, Mr. Hill is here, I can tell you for sure what type of paper you want, which surface.
No, I am not I'm talking about papers. Papers are
You will get everything.
no, getting everything,
Yeah.
but the cost impact.
Cost, I don't want to.
Okay,
See,
just I have raised the
these
question.
mirrorless cameras are also not cheap.
Which one?
These mirrorless cameras are also not cheap. I am not talking about cost.
ठीक है, the way you see it is okay.
Forget about cost. Actually,
Cost is not everything.
Okay, I think this topic, Soumya, I have not concluded. So I think this is just like parallel railway lines that won't be end. What that commercial perspective last question was raised from the point of view of the cost of the things. So one is the presenter has presented it from the viewpoint of a creator, and another is appreciator. In between the first and third question, there was a question about the revival or resurrection. As in vinyl records, in our childhood days, we were used to vinyl records. Yes. That was then, after that, acoustics has developed in such a way, science and technology, that then the flop disk came, the tape recorder came. Now it is, you could put the charges and get the music through internet. But nowadays, vinyl records have been revived all over the world, and it is coming, and the people who are experts in acoustics and who are a very good listener, music buffs all over the world, they are appreciating the vinyl records, that in the history of the acoustics, there is nothing parallel to vinyl records. And what he has presented today, that if we question about resolution, about the beauty, in the gallery, still now the enlargement, I am not going for some postcard size photos, but there is nothing unparalleled. The conventional film photography is still unparalleled. So this will not end. We can't proceed to the next questions. Okay, Soumya, this is final. Please. Thank you very much.